Today is a game day of release game day. It's game out today. Here we are. Hollow Knight Silksong. You know, I witnessed something earlier today I thought was so annoying. My goat, Co-Carnage, tweeted and simply said that he played a little bit of Silksong on stream and he would not be continuing it on stream right now. Very simple. He said, I'm just not feeling it. It's just more of the first game so far, and I didn't really feel like playing it. I wasn't actively excited by it because I haven't been feeling Metroidvanias recently. So, you know, upon realizing it's just kind of like more of the same, that's not a bad thing. I just didn't really want to, you know, stream it more, which I thought was a really fair take and totally fine, and an expression of, hey, I don't feel like playing this right now, which is what you're allowed to do. Yeah, he doesn't love Metroidvanias. We know this. And he got so many people being so butthurt, ass mad, annoying in the replies. So people being outright mean, some people just questioning, but they can't hide that they're typing because they're mad about it, right? You only played for an hour. That's not really enough time to tell if it's different or whatever. It doesn't matter if it does get better later or anything. He played it for an hour and didn't feel like continuing. You don't have to do what you don't want to do. My God, it was one of the most annoying sections of replies I've seen because it was such a mundane tweet that was completely fair and about what a streamer wants to do with what game they play on their own channel. And my God, these people were like so angry. And it's fine to disagree, but they were doing like this really heavy, like negative language with some actually, with some people being outright, look buddy, like things like that. And I was like, what is the purpose? You're not going to convince him of anything. He's the type who will probably try it again later. It's just weird. He worded it really nicely too. He was just like, yeah, I don't know. I played a little bit of it and I just felt like what I was getting so far was just more of the same. He even said, like, as you know, I haven't been able to really enjoy a lot of Metroidvanias. I haven't been into it that much. So for the time being, I'm just going to put it down. I just don't think I'm going to like it right now. I just truly, and he just was explaining, he's talking about how he felt too, not like just an objective opinion on the game. He was also just talking about how he felt, and people coming after someone for just being like, I feel like I wasn't having fun playing it. What's there to be mad about? There are gonna be 5,000 streamers minimum playing this game today on the platform. Like, those people have so much other stuff they could click on, you know? I was just like, why are they so... Oh, man. Him and Zeke literally talked about this like a week ago, about how neither of them like Metroidvanias right now. Yeah, that's why you know these people, like, don't watch him, right? And if you love Hollow Knight and you want more of the same, you're gonna love this game. Maybe there's more stuff that is added later. I don't know. I just feel like people should just play, like, 10 hours of the game before they go and try to tell them like it gets different or something. Like, they don't even know if it does. Like, not everyone likes that genre of game. It's fine.
If you make something that 100% of people like, you've made the world's most generic thing. Even Jurassic Park is only rated at 8 out of 10. People need to relax.
Yep. But then, you know, it's, as a creator, you know what you get too. When you give lukewarm takes, you're just like talking about something you do like. You get the same types of people being like, ugh, have a different opinion once in your life. Like, you're speaking so opinionatedly on this thing, but like, you're preaching to the choir. What's the point, man? Right? You get the same, like, the same thing on the other side. Yeah, fence sitter, right? Stuff like that. So I'm like, man, let him live. I don't know, man. So it's the same people too. People that just want to sit there and go boo, but they don't know what to say. I just feel like I don't think there's any good way to implement this, but if the world were like ideal, there would be an uncorrupt system that just like measures if people are like negative Nancy's or not. And if they are, they're not allowed on the internet. They're not allowed to post. They can only consume content. They can't post. That's what I want. But then you get into social credit, and that's a whole separate conversation. But, you know, if there were like a perfect system that would not people over for no reason, I would love that. It's impossible, but it's my ideal utopian world in my mind. Anyway.
I watch K every now and again, and people just like to hate on someone. They are just wanting drama.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, we all get it to some extent, right? People complaining about nothing. Complaining just to complain. Cole's like the nicest too. I find that, you know, when people complain about a creator and their complaints, yeah, they don't really have much substance. It's stuff that like the actual viewers know is just like not true. They're just wrong. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It means that that person's doing well, right? I rarely see people complaining about me, and the few times I do, it's only ever, like the same 3 regurgitated things that aren't true. So I'm just like, okay. Or it's like someone's like valid opinion and it's just an opinion, right? And that's fine too. So I'm like, all right. Oh no, so they won. No, I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel that way at all. Him deleting the tweet just meant that a lot of that anger toward that tweet gets staved off and he doesn't have to have his replies pinging so much. That's all. It's the equivalent of blocking someone. Like there's no winner there. It just means your time has won, right? Like your time is less wasted seeing that, right? Anytime I've had a scenario on Twitter where like a tweet gets picked up by people that are just being like that, I just mute it, right? I feel like deleting it or muting it is the same thing. Blocking a user, it's the same thing. It doesn't mean anyone's winning. Yeah, it just means like you don't get notifs from it and it's out of sight, out of mind, and you are completely disconnecting from it. There you go. I prefer to mute something than delete because at least those people being annoying give me engagement. You know what I mean?
The first game was peak, and this game feels just like it. Wow, how dare you?
Yeah, fucking crime, right? I couldn't believe they were mad at that. I don't know. I won't delete it unless like I look and read it back and I go, oh, never mind. I don't feel this way anymore. You know?
As a family, his time is so very important, and it's probably annoying as when he's enjoying time with his kids and people getting mad he's not feeling
literally,
it.
Yeah.
Also, Go High Belev has said he doesn't know how to do a lot on Twitter, so maybe didn't know that was a thing.
I don't think it matters. I think deleting is just easier than muting. But yeah, I tend to mute stuff if I feel like I still feel just as strongly about the original tweet, regardless of the replies and quote retweets or whatever, right? I'll just do that, and yeah, I'll just let those people get farmed. I'm like, okay, if you want to complain, you will give me engagement, right? My Twitter impressions went crazy. I tweeted one time about VTuber graduations, and I was just saying that like some people in some communities get like really crazy about it and they treat the person like they died. And that got picked up to all hell by a bunch of people that like really didn't understand what I was saying there. I just left it. I muted it and I left it, and I was like, you guys are giving this so much engagement. My impressions are going insane right now. Why would I delete this? I still believe what I said. I even put a reply underneath to clarify a little bit, because I think people were thinking that I was commenting on something that had just happened, which wasn't really what it was about. It was a generalized thing. But I was like, oh, I get the timing. You know, people probably think it's only about this or something. So I just like reply to it. I was like, by the way, just in general, like, here's why I say this. And that was it. I just muted it. And then all of my other tweets for the next week did really well because the engagement was crazy and Twitter loves that, you know? So it's like, thanks, man. Yeah, exactly, Nilo. The pancakes and waffles thing. I feel like anytime I've had like a real issue like that, it's always been a pancakes and waffles situation, thankfully. So whatever, just stick to it. Don't care. I didn't see the tweet. What was the point? The real point of it was that for the past however many months, a lot of VTubers had been graduating, and many of them were going to go on to do other things, or one would assume. And a lot of comments when people were expressing grief, there was like normal grief expression, but then there were also people acting like the person's actually dying, right? And not literally, but acting like that era ending and that persona, that VTuber no longer existing, means that they're done with the person behind it as well, right? They would say things that would imply that. And what I was trying to put forward, especially I replied to let people know, like, look, this is what I keep seeing. What I keep seeing is people express things like that in their moments of grief. They speak and they lash out in a way that's like very emotional, right? So they say really emotionally charged stuff. And then the creator behind the VTuber, if they want to go and do something else later, they see a lot of comments saying, oh, it's not going to be the same. Oh, I can't live without them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes the way these things are worded makes that person get demoralized, feel dejected, start to wonder if they should regret their decision. Maybe it makes them feel like people never cared about me, the person. They only cared about this character and this era. And when I'm ending it, so many of them are not going to be there if I, go and do another thing. And it makes people feel like, and I think a lot of the people that are saying that stuff, that are mourning, the end of the current era, a lot of them don't mean it, but they're still making that creator feel that way. So I'm saying, let's pull back. Let's have more measured responses to this. That's it. That's what I was saying, right? And I summed it up quicker than that. I was just like, hey, some of you are acting like the person's dying. It's getting kind of weird. That's all I said. And then when people thought that I had like maybe bad intent with that, I don't know. I don't think they thought I had bad intent. I think it was just people being weird. I replied to give a little more clarification. And there you go. And I just left it up and muted it because I was like, damn, these people are being really dumb. I also think there were a lot of people that were probably ESL. So the way they were reading it was very literal. And then their interpretations of it were based off of that. But I'm not going to start like going on Twitter and delving into that. And you know what I mean? I was just like, whatever. They were acting like you were calling them all idiots for having feelings. Yeah, right. They took it very literally. Like they thought I was saying, don't be emotional over this, you stupid idiot. Which was like not at all if you just read it. I also said like some people. They ignored the word some. Some, which means a portion of the whole. Smaller than half, right? Like a small portion. Some. A vague amount that's a lot less than all, you know? It was crazy, man. And then there were a lot of people that like reached out and were like, I'm so sorry that you have to deal with these people. One of the people in question too, that it was like not about, people thought it was about, was like, sorry. I was like, don't worry, man. Don't worry. It's okay. I muted it. I'm good, you know? But that's kind of like, I saw like Ko's tweet just starting off getting those types of replies. Not as like hateful as the ones I got, but you know, a few. And I saw it and I was like, this tweet's gonna do really well, unfortunately. And then he deleted it. I was like, okay, you know what? For him, that's probably better. It's probably better. I don't know. People are crazy, man. And so I felt so bad when a VTuber graduates and comes back a lot of the time later as a new personality, because they must feel so bad from all the emails and DMs and all that stuff. Yeah, that's kind of where my mindset comes from on that stuff. I've had so many friends be parts of a project and then end a project and go do another thing. Like a lot of friends, many that I'm friends with more so on the back end. And hearing them talk about it, there's so much like unnecessary negativity and turmoil that they go through when they make a decision that is good for them, right? They're like, I want to move on and do this other thing. That's them doing what they feel is right for them. But then they deal with like community members saying things that make them feel like they were never valued. That's what it boils down to, right? It's horrible for those people mentally, emotionally. It's awful for them. Very, very, very bad. So, you know, I'm just kind of trying to shed a little light on that, or I was with that, you know, set of tweets, trying to shed a little light on the fact that that really does a number on people, and they have to sit there and pretend it doesn't, because they're like, if you graduate, you stop tweeting, you stop saying things on stream, you know? So like all the aftermath, you don't get to hear their opinion on that, but it messes a lot of people up. Genuinely for a bit. So people don't recover. There's some people that still are like, I could never do that again because I'd have to go through another round of that thing and I couldn't handle it. I've heard this, you know? So I'm like, man, a lot of this would just be solved if the talents were able to just say they're going indie. Yeah, but it's an IP protection thing. It's a brand protection thing. I get why. People have been really cheeky about how they suggest they're doing certain things or whatever. I think people assume that people are gonna like end up somewhere nowadays. People just know. It's still taboo, but it's less taboo than it used to be, especially in the Western sphere. So I'm just glad it's slowly gotten better. I think when people have been through it enough times, now their responses are getting like less and less emotional. They're still pretty emotional. There's still some, but fewer people are freaking out completely, you know? Grad due to health issues still worries me. Yeah, well, there's one who many months ago did graduate due to health stuff, and they're doing great, and they're still friends with who they're friends with, and they still exist, and they're doing great, and they just couldn't really stream anymore. It was just a tough thing for them, and that's, you know, it's good. I think the health issues stuff is something I want to see people stop VTubing from, because some people like push through and they make their conditions worse, and I feel really bad because they have like this huge community that really loves them and is like saying, oh, I would feel so sad if you were gone or whatever. And then it gets that person continuing to stream when sometimes they shouldn't for their health, you know? Like sometimes they really should not, but they're appeasing the fan base kind of thing. Or it's like a guilt thing. They just feel bad, you know? Kind of a mix of both. And I hate to see it. I don't want to see anyone like worsen their health issues just because some other people would feel sad, right? Like that's a moment where you have to be selfish and you have to just be like, no, this is what I need. So it's an unfortunate trade-off of being massively popular. It's so easy to go down that route. Yeah, I mean, there's parasociality is two ways, right? It doesn't have to be necessarily bad, but some of the things I've always talked about how parasociality can be good or bad. It can be both, right? It just depends on what the resulting actions are. But one of the bad ones, you know, one of the bad things that happens is streamers will start to feel really beholden to their audiences sometimes, like they owe them everything, and in a moment where they should be selfish, like relating to their health, doing what's good for them, etc., they hesitate, some of them, or they have a hard time doing what's good for them. A lot of streamers have a hard time taking taking breaks. And it's not even like a money thing. It's like, oh no, these people are so used to me being here and now I won't for a week. I can't possibly, right? And I'm like, what? You don't owe your time to these people all the time to the extent where you can't take a week break or something, you know, or even a month if you need it, right? But people will like really get in their head about it, and they won't do what they should do. So I don't know. I just think it's nicer to see people like set healthier boundaries for sure.
As in all things, understanding healthy boundaries is so important in online communities for both creator and consumer.
The hard part of it is when you talk about those boundaries or you set those boundaries, a lot of the time you get accused of not actually liking your audience or not caring or, you know, like things that aren't necessarily true. You're just trying to balance yourself, but you'll get accused of this stuff. And that is really hard. And the more you tell your community things that are kind of beyond that boundary and you make them feel like they're like in closer to you than they actually realistically are, etc., then when you try to like finally have a talk about some sort of boundary, they like freak out sometimes. Not everyone. I feel like most people are pretty sane and they might be sad. They'll be like, oh, sad, but whatever, or, you know, or something like that. But you farm up more people that are going to freak out when you drop some types of news and stuff, you know? I think a big one is like relationships. That one's really tough because not everyone's trying to attract their community that way. Some are, some that's their brand, but a lot of them aren't even trying to do that. And people just kind of like start feeling a certain way. And there's a point where when you see certain reactions to you in chat or you see people say certain things, you should consider telling those people to take one step back so that they don't like actually think like you owe them anything, you know? But then, you know, people won't. They'll just be like, oh, my community just loves me. Whereas like some people in that community are saying some things in chat that are a little too much and they'll allow it, right? And then if they get a partner, then boom, those people start crashing out. And it turns into, it's one thing if someone gets emotional, it's like, I gotta leave. But sometimes these people, it flips the other way into them feeling like betrayed and they start to like do crazy shit. And I've known a lot of creators have had situations where people like that have like felt betrayed and tried to like actually harm them or do crazy shit. You know, they become like the opposite. They become a hater, all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's really hard to set those boundaries sometimes, but it's a good thing. It prevents issues later, you know? I think it's good. It's good to have those kinds of
if someone freaks out when you set a boundary, it's because they will 100% violate that boundary.
That's what I believe,
Worth keeping in mind.
Either they will or they are like holding out. You know what I mean? Like they're holding out hope. It's the sort of thing where a lot of people might be a little more normal in chat, but they want you to have your boundaries be like a step back from where they are, right? They want to get in closer. And then maybe they don't do anything from afar, but if they met you in person, they would, kind of thing. And you can't tell always who those people are in chat. So you kind of have to say stuff here and there to make it obvious, like where the lines are, just in case, you know? Because you can't tell, right? You'll have a chat full of people, let's say there are 100 people, and all of them act totally normal, but then you do a meet and greet and like 2 of those 100 people show up and are being weird toward you, right? And then when you're like, whoa, that's a little too forward, they're like, but you're always like blah, blah, blah on stream. What? Right? They act confused and you're like, oh? And it's just like a weird scenario that happens. It's a weird scenario. So that's why it's like, I don't know, I find it's better to not push people away, I would say, because then like you can't do that to like community members, but push them away from a certain point. You know, push them to the line, right? Instead of just kind of letting them tow over it. But I don't know, it could be tough, man. It could be tough. So I like how you have a set schedule, easy to follow, and seems healthy for you on your end. Yeah, it is. Even things like that, right? Like people will stream 5 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever it is, right? And then I've been trying to be more okay with it over time. If I miss a day, something happens one day and I can't stream that day, I always would try to make it up. I'd fill it into one of the off days, or I'd add extra hours to another stream. Even now, I still kind of do that where I like add hours to other streams when I miss one. Like, so like I couldn't do a Sunday, so I did like an ultra long alt stream. I've done some longer streams other days. It's just kind of like, you know, I don't actually need to do that. Like mentally, I just feel the need to, right? And I don't overdo it, but I can see how if I kept doing that every time, some people like they get worse and worse with it, right? If they're feeling really bad, they'll stream anyway because they just feel like they have to. They just have to, kind of thing. Whereas everyone else gets like sick days and things like that at their work. I don't know.